Well, I just think he hit a few hard ones, to be honest. He hit a couple open ones off of turnovers in transition. I thought Speedy Smith did a good job, as well as Alex Hamilton, finding guys, particularly Raheem. But he hit 4 or 5 hard ones that sometimes you need to hit to beat a really good defensive team like Florida State. Well, probably just the physicality of the game would be the thing that would stick out most. Defensively, they're so different. They're actually a lot taller than Southern Miss. Southern Miss is equally as physical, if not more physical, and Southern Miss is going to zone us the whole game, so it's a little bit different in that regard. Offensively, the teams are pretty different as well. We'll try to do a lot of the similar things that we did, but honestly, the game against Southern Miss, it seems like it was last season. It was so long ago. We're a different team than we were then. They're a different team. They're actually without maybe their most talented player, but they're playing better. It seems like they've shortened their rotation, and I think they've gained a little bit more of an offensive identity. They just seem to be in more of an offensive rhythm than they were then. I think they were a grinded-out, really good defensive team then. Now they're a really good defensive team that's a handful offensively as well. Well, hopefully a lot of it just happens, on its own with just the rhythm that we had offensively, with the confidence that some guys were able to obtain, especially Raheem. We'll have a couple more practices before we head to Hattiesburg. A lot of it will have to do with the scouting report and concentrating on defending them, scoring against their zone. But surely our confidence level has got to be in a pretty good place right now as we head to the second round. Yeah, it was definitely different, Heck, Kane helped me, maybe a 12-day road trip out west. That was day to day, just reevaluating, I guess, how we approach each practice and each shoot around, and having study hall on the road and dealing with losses. It was definitely different than getting back here. Kids are back in class. We're able to give a couple days off here and there, able to have some success and get back on the right track. So we definitely feel like we're somewhat back to normalcy. Great question. I think Alex Hamilton sticks out first and foremost in terms of taking strides, getting more opportunity, taking advantage of his opportunities. He's coming off his best game at Florida State, having scored 16 and played a lot of minutes. Speedy and Raheem are better players than they were early on in their sophomore years. Keon McNeil and Brandon Gibson are dealing with injuries now, so they're a little bit different. Now, they could both play great against Southern Miss, I'm not sure, but they're feeling different than they were a couple months ago. I think Mike Kaiser's come into his own a little bit, playing a little bit older, playing a little bit more physically, rebounding the ball better. Those guys stick out. It helps them more, because they can just watch the film and look at the 3 or 4 things they could have done a little bit better that may have put them over the top. I don't think it helps or hurts us. For an immature team, it could hurt if we just think we can be complacent, go down there and play average and have success. And I really don't think our kids think that. And if they do at practice today, we'll correct that quickly, because we know we're going to have to play awfully well as we did in Tallahassee to have a chance. Yeah, in that type of game, for sure. It had been a while since he'd logged a few minutes or more. He did some good things. He definitely matched their size and physicality. He got to the ball a couple times. He also made a couple freshman mistakes that he'll learn from, but he'll be a good player here. He just needs more and more opportunity. I hope so. Texas San Antonio hit some hard shots. They have 2 little guards that can go get their own shot anytime they want, and it's just a matter of contesting them as best you can. Sometimes good guards make contested shots. I don't think we were awful defensively against those guys. I thought it was more of a case of UTSA being really good offensively. So having said that, we've been pretty consistent on that side of the ball all year long, and I hope that continues. It should. Yeah, gradually we've become a better offensive rebounding team throughout the year with the emergence of Mike Kaiser, playing with more strength in gaining experience. Our wings have done a much better job in the past month or so, really the past couple months, than they did early on in the season at flying to the rim with reckless abandon. That's their job as a 3, as a 4, as a 5. We send 3 to the glass consistently, and offensive rebounding is a lot of it is just want to and desire and mental and physical toughness. So I want to say over the last couple months of the WAC regular season, we led the league in offensive rebounding. So we'll continue to stress that, especially when you're playing a team that is going to zone you for 40 minutes. There should be opportunities if we do our jobs, although they're very physical and they're very disciplined to block out as well. It's a unique zone that Donnie implemented there, and he's done a great job with it. They're terrific defensively. It's different. It seems like depending upon what you're trying to run against it. Sometimes they'll trap ball screens, sometimes they'll trap the corner, sometimes the middle's open, sometimes it's not. We'll need to keep the ball moving, just like we do, and like you'd hope to do against any type zone. And against zones, you'd hope that if you take care of the ball and continue to move it and move your bodies, you get decent looks when you step up and make jump shots, find ways to get it on the interior a little bit. Convert, of course, and be on that offensive glass like we've been over the last couple months. They're all playing. They're all playing a little bit better. They're shooting 39% from three. They really shoot the ball well, and then they're tough and physical on the interior. They got a couple guys that can score with their back to the basket, and they're really good on the offensive glass. You know, they've gone from a good to a really good offensive team since December. Well, it definitely the Florida State win healed some wounds for sure from the conference tournament, and it got our guys feeling a little bit better about themselves, and the aura in the locker room's a little bit different for sure. We have a clean slate, and we hope just to continue to prolong the season as long as we can. Well, I think it's important for both fan bases. It's interesting that they have a coach, you know, on the front end of an era there as well. So you have two new staffs at new schools. Both schools and programs have promise. We're close in proximity. I think there's certain similarities in styles of play as well. I'm sure we'll be recruiting against each other off and on, you know, annually. So, we look forward to the rivalry, and we hope it's a rivalry because they're a team that almost represented Conference USA, you know, in the NCAA tournament. They're a very good team. They're coming off they're in the midst, of a fantastic year. So if it's a rivalry, that means we're doing some good things as well. Honestly, we hadn't talked a lot about it. We try not to talk big picture too much, and Ron, we've talked about that throughout the year. It seems like 2 or 3 of our worst performances of the year were when I think our kids felt a little bit too much pressure, and we're just continually trying to remind them about things that make us better, what we need to do to be successful on that given night against that team, and try to simplify it a little bit. We forget we're still dealing with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores that are playing in these games, and I think if you put too much pressure on yourself in basketball, it's hard to be successful. It's hard to make shots. I've known Donnie for a while. I'd consider Donnie a friend. He's done a great job. He's carried over the momentum that he started having, I guess, with the success he started having at Morehead State, and in year 1 at Southern Miss, they've been very, very good. They challenged Memphis there at the end, and I'm sure they'll be a team to be reckoned with, you know, in future years in Conference USA. Probably an advantage for both teams, you know. Yeah. Kids these days, they're up so late. Yeah. I'm sure at 9 o'clock, all 10 out there on the floor will be raring to go.